return to APC is an afterthought. The will of the electorate must prevail in Edo State. Thanks, Andy. Thank you so much, Andy. Still moving on. Good morning, Charles and God's love. In the spirit of sportsmanship, I want my people governor to forgive Mr. Adams Oshomole, and that will serve as a lesson to others. From Wilfred Opa Sapomba. Good morning, Oga Charles and Orlando. Ondo election, they should take example from the great people of Edo State. The INEC and the police should also be transparent as they did in Edo. The visa ban on election riggers played a big role. This is Jeremiah Egole from Orogo in Ovia Northeast. All right, thank you, Jerry. Still taking your messages, by the way. Please pardon me. Trying to struggle with the text line here. Good morning, KUFM. Having congratulated Governor Obaseki, I want to use this medium to appeal to our amiable governor to first of all embark on erosion control throughout the state. People are losing their homes. People are suffering because of erosion. Mr. Melody, all the way from Aurora. I'll be wrapping it up here quickly because we have two guests to speak to on the show this morning. The final one in here is coming from Austin, all the way from Sapele Road. Good morning, KUFM. The federal government of the day, through the Ministry of Transportation, is busy constructing roads and railways to Niger Republic while abandoning our federal roads, e.g. Benin Sapele Road, Austin from Sapele Road. All right, thank you so much, Austin, and thank you to all of you that have sent your messages this morning. Like I said, today is Thursday. We will be looking at stories emanating from Edo State. This is when we focus our topic of discourse here in the state. And today we are going to be talking about something really important. We're going to be talking about the Nigeria Labour Congress strike. We know that they've said that they're going on strike to demand a reversal of the cost of petrol and power. And this position is at variance with the position of the federal government, and there is no going back with the new price regime and what they call elimination of subsidy. So on that particular topic, we'll be speaking to the NLC chairman, Edo State chapter, Comrade Sonny Osainde, via phone call. And also we have the chairman of voter education here in Benin City, Mr. Timidi Wariowe from INEC, is also here to give us a first-hand information and a quick breakdown of exactly the feedback INEC has gotten so far. But before we move on to him, we'll be speaking to our first guest this morning.
Okay, of course, like you did point out, Comrade Sonny Osainde, even if the NLC here in Edo State are supposed to be in a meeting, he says they're going to have a meeting by 10 to know the next line of action, but he did say, okay, do well to call me. I will find a way to get across to you. So we are trying to get across to Comrade Osainde. If we can't, then we'll come directly to Mr. Timidi Wariowe, who is the head of voter education and publicity at INEC here in Edo State. Okay, sorry, we weren't able to get to Comrade Osainde, so maybe much later on the show, hopefully, we will connect to him. But let's come back to Mr. Wariowe in the studio. Good morning, Mr. Wariowe. Good to have you here.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, quickly, INEC has conducted the Edo gubernatorial elections. The winner has emerged, and the elections have largely been hailed as, shall I call them, free and fair. A lot of people, even some election monitors who were in the studio here, give the election 9/10 and all that. So how does this make you feel? You're smiling already. How does it make you feel as the head of voter education and publicity?
Wow, what else do you want me to say, than to be happy and be smiling, that we have done a good job and everybody is congratulating us. So what else do you want me to say? I think it was a very good one. It's the sleepless nights, all the time we put into the processes leading to this election. So, and of course, our efforts were not in vain, sort of. So we are happy that it happened this way, and Nigerians are happy, and people are now saying singing different songs about INEC, looking at INEC from another angle, and we are happy about it.
All right, let's move on. Tell me about the challenges, because you said sleepless nights. Obviously, before you achieve a very big stride like this, there are challenges you might have faced, possibly a group challenge, individual challenge, agency challenges. Tell us about the challenges you faced to achieve this, wonderful remarks.
Okay, well, conducting an election of this magnitude is really not easy. Although it's logistics-wise, because it was one election, only one election, that is the governorship election. Sometimes we've conducted elections where 2-3 elections in one. Presidential election, National House of Reps, Senate. So you have a volume of materials that you are carrying and all that. But this one, it was just only one. So it was easier in terms of logistics. But of course, when you know that the whole country is, all eyes, are on you, you have to do your best. You have to put your best, to make sure that you don't disappoint the people. And of course, again, the whole of INEC was like in Edo State. The people from headquarters, everybody was here, so everybody was playing one role or the other. Of course, but we, the people on ground here that are accommodating them, that are taking care of them, that are doing one thing or the other for everybody, for everybody to be at peace and for everybody to feel at home while doing their own jobs also was even another problem, another dimension of the problem. And again, let me just talk about my own department, which is the voter education and publicity. Of course, crisscrossing the entire length and breadth of Benin City, going from one radio station to the other, from one television station to the other. Sometimes people invite you suddenly and you have to go there and talk and talk and talk and talk. It was not really an easy thing, but thank God we were able to go through all that, and of course our efforts were not in vain.
All right, let's talk about the portal. Is this the first time, the portal where you transmitted the results from each polling unit? Is this the first time INEC will be doing something like that?
Yes, what we test run it in Nasarawa State by-election, which was a very State House of Assembly by-election of not up to 100 polling units. It was test run there, and then this governorship was the main one that we have used it, and of course it was a very good one. Going forward, I think so many persons have come to praise the commission, especially this innovation, because at least from feelers we are also getting it created a long way, in curbing rigging and all that, and of course the whole idea was to building confidence in the process, so that people won't think that INEC has anything to hide. When certain things happen in the field, that people will call INEC, but it's not really INEC. So many political actors took advantage of some of our processes, and then do one or two funny things in the process, and then at the end of the day it boils down to the commission. So we are trying to put in processes that will inspire confidence on the people, and this is one of those processes, and of course it worked very well.
All right, now in 2016 this election happened, and the result was virtually the same. When I say virtually the same, I mean the same person won the election in 2016 and in 2020, but 2016 had a lot of complaints. People, I know you weren't here in 2016, but of course you must have followed it from wherever you were. Now in 2020, the same election has happened, the same person has won, but now the complaints have been reduced to the barest minimum. If I ask you, what was that, or what were the things that INEC did differently from last time that made this time around become some sort of benchmark that everybody is aspiring to?
No, it's not. I was not here, so I can't give an adequate comparative analysis. But to me, we prepared better. And of course, like I used to say, election is a multi-stakeholder business. All the stakeholders must, it's a matter of must, perform their duties, for us to have a free, fair and credible election. Let me talk about movements of men and material. We have to enter into agreement with National Union of Road Transport Workers and Road Transport Owners. If there is a delay, if there is any slight delay from them, it will cause problem. We have to also the police is the lead agency when it comes to election security.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course we are partnering with the police and other security agencies. We have this what we call this interagency consultative committee on election security. So the police, the army, and the rest of the paramilitary, they are all part of that agency. So we work together to make sure that we get a credible election. If they fail in one way or the other, it will affect the outcome. We recruit ad hoc staff from tertiary institutions, presiding officers from NYS mostly, and serving corpers and ex-corpers and all that. Then the SPO, supervisory presiding officers from federal agencies within the state, within and outside the state. And then collation officers are taken from universities, and returning officers. So if any of those segments of people that we are recruiting as ad hoc staff, if they also not play by the rules of the game, it will affect the election. So that is why I say it's a multi-stakeholder business. So but if all these people play their roles, the security, the transport owners, the commission, our own permanent staff, the ad hoc staff, all of us put together, and even the voters, the political parties themselves, and of course the youths who sometimes the political parties engage, to cause one problem or the other at the polling unit. If there is any breach anywhere, it will affect the election, So that's why I say it's a multi-stakeholder business. But when all of us, come together and say we want to have a peaceful election, we'll have a peaceful election, and that is what played out in Edo State.
Now, do we expect this as a norm going forward, or is this a flash in the pan? Is this a one-off, or is this what we are going to expect in Ondo State, for instance?
Well, I can only talk of what has happened, but going forward, like I said, if the youths wanted to be violent, if the youths wanted to take up arms, we wouldn't have had this kind of election. Although there were slight issues here and there, but it's inconsequential. It's not something that people can say that there was violence in the election. So, but on our home part, we have been talking to all the stakeholders that look, we have to conduct a free, fair, and credible election. We've carried out this sensitization to the nooks and crannies of Edo State, and of course we also engage the youth, we engage the political parties, the military, the security agencies too, because sometimes we've also seen the negative role security agencies play. So we have to talk to them. Let them also be professional. You were there when we had the last stakeholders meeting, when the IGP, the Inspector General of Police was there, and chairman was there. So and the candidates and the political parties, they were all there. So these were discussions we've had over the time, and of course everybody came to the conclusion that we should have a free, fair, and credible election. So at that point, whatever anybody wants to do, will have been inconsequential, and that was when all the stakeholders agreed that look, moving forward, we have to have a good election. Then we'll have a good election, and that is what played out.
All right, let's move forward. We know that every day we notice our mistakes and get better on our mistake. We always get better, and the way INEC was back then in 2015, definitely you might have made some changes. Now moving forward after this election, you've gotten like 90% good recommendation credit from both the masses and then political players in the country. What would you say you've learned? What are the lessons that you've learned from this Edo election that you would want to practicalize moving on, and even in 2023 election after Ondo State?
Well, it's left for the commission, to come up with better options, because this is a standalone election. It's an off-cycle election. The whole of the country on the 19th of September, it was only one state that was doing election. The same way is going to happen in Ondo on the 10th of October. So this was, the preparations and everything was better, okay, but we have to transit, we have to move forward from this point, because after these standing elections, after Ondo, next year we're going to have Anambra, and as the case may be, leading to the 2023 that we're going to have a general election. So when it's a general election, you will not have the luxury of having so many security people, bringing security from different states, bringing INEC personnel from Abuja and different states and all that, because there will be election in all the states. There will be election in all the states. So you will not have some of these things that we had that, of course, made things easier for us. So we have to plan better. We have to plan better. And of course, it still boils down to the roles each and everyone has to play. The roles. If we play our roles, if the security will play its role, of providing security, on the day of election, before the election and all that. And of course, even the youths, the political parties, if the political actors want to shun violence, of course there will be no violence, because they are the people that give money to some of these boys to cause trouble. Nobody will just wake up one day and I want to disrupt election. The person will be, except he's a mad person. The person must have been, engaged, sort from somebody somewhere, So if the political parties and all of us, if we say that, look, election is not a do or die affair, let the process be seamless. Let us have a good election, and whoever that wins takes it, then we're going to have it. So the preaching, the gospel will continue to preach, is let us take this Edo election as a yardstick, as a springboard, so that future elections will also have this, will have achieve this kind of success, or even better. Yes, even better. So that when we do that, then the 2023, from the presidential to the National Assembly, House of Reps, and the rest of them, will also have this kind of fit. So it's to talk to the conscience of the people, all people, including the voters themselves. The voters also have roles to play, So if Nigerians, invariably what I'm saying, if Nigerians want a good election, we'll have a good election. You can't, INEC will create an enabling environment, a level playing field for everybody. And of course, if people trust INEC, if people trust the commission, just as we have done in Edo State, if people trust the commission, of course, some of these things that people do on the day of election or before the election will not even arise. So in that case, we'll have a better election even in the future.
All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, the rest of the conversation continues. Please stay with us.
Nigeria's political landscape has evolved over the years, but since 1960, the yearnings of the people have remained the same.
My own problem I like to, I don't tire.
There are no jobs in this country.
Everyone pays to carry 250 million naira, go buy motor. Corruption for this country too much. Our healthcare in Nigeria is really poor. Women are dying at childbirth almost every day.
Join us on the program Dialogue as we focus on Nigeria's political scene. We bring you interviews from political gladiators.
So this wasn't the problem with the governors. It was the corruption in the SS Food account. It was the fact that without any clearance, the federal government dips their hand in the SS Food account to fund their business. And SS Food account is money you save from the state government and the federal government.
In-depth analysis of policy statements.
Nigeria does have a problem with corruption, and so do many other countries, including developed countries. I don't like the fact that when people mention the name Nigeria, the next thing they say is corruption. This is a country of 170 million people. 99.9% of them are hardworking citizens who just want to get on with their lives, and they want a government that delivers for them.
And voicing your political opinion every weekday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 92.7 KUFM. Dialogue. Your voice counts.
Alright, you're welcome. It's still Dialogue right here on 92.7 KUFM. We have the chairman of the voter education here in Edo State.
Chairman, please.
Head of department, I beg your pardon, I apologize for that.
Thank you.
Head of department of the voters education here in Edo State, INEC, Mr. Timidi Wario, still joining us in the building. Now let's move on to the rest of the conversation. Taking a cue from one of our reporters on Saturday, during the Saturday Edo State governorship election, our first report to be very precise, she reported that somewhere in George Ida polling at the RAC center, yes, not a polling unit, it's a RAC center, some ad hoc staff refused to move due to the fact that they've not paid them, and people are alleging that you've not paid your ad hoc staff who worked during the election. How true is this?
No. The payment of ad hoc staff is in phases.
Okay.
Yes. We pay them for training. And then we also give them little stipends for transport, and then the final one is a remuneration. That is what we call honoraria.
Okay.
They work the election day duty itself, you know. So there was a little mix-up in some of the LGAs that this incident occurred. They were supposed to pay them transport, you know, and then of course even the training, then leave the election money, you know, after the election. But I think that some of the LGAs, some of the electoral officers didn't pay them that money, so there was some delay in some places. And I was told that they were paid, you know, before they started going out on the day of election. So, but again, now after the election, they are supposed to, the same electoral officers are supposed to send a comprehensive list of all the ad hoc staff, especially the pool staff, the presiding officers and the assistant presiding officers. And that is going to be a very comprehensive job, because the names of the core members or whatever, and then the account details. If there is any mistake anywhere, especially the bank, the account details, the money won't hit the person's account. So the electoral officers are compiling those names, the people that actually worked, and the account details. Immediately they submit to the state office, to the accountant in the state office. Of course, they will start paying them. The money is there. In fact, I was with the accountant yesterday, and she was saying that she's still waiting for the electoral officers to send those names to them, send those names to her, and then she will start payment. Because to pay for 18 local governments is going to be quite some job for her. So she is saying that any moment from now, when the electoral officers send those names, she will start.
Okay, so that process is ongoing.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Now, let's talk about the PVC collection. We had a registered number of registered voters in Edo State, over 2 million people, but we had PVC collection of about 1.7 million collected, and then we had voters who turned out to vote less than 600,000, about 550,000 or thereabout. So that means the commission has over 400,000 PVCs in its possession. When are we going to see the distribution of these other PVCs? And then are we going to see new registration for new voters? If it's going to happen, when is it going to happen?
Well, some of these things is not it's not for me to decide. It's INEC headquarters in Abuja that will give us dates. You know, now that the election is over, Edo State alone cannot distribute PVCs until the commission gives go-ahead for all the states to start distributing PVCs. That is what is going to happen. And even the registration after now, because we'll be preparing for 2023, and of course we are going to do registration. So that is left for the commission to fix a date for all the INEC state offices, you know, to start what we call continuous voter registration. Right now, we don't know when it's going to start. Maybe sometime next year or whatever. When the commission deems fit, they will start the process. So PVC collection, no date yet, and even the continuous voter registration, no date yet.
I want to ask the process now here in Edo State. Someone who has registered, but is it possible that the PVCs can be taken to the communities of the people who registered? I'm asking a question.
You know, also looking at the fact that we are in the COVID-19 era where we are observing social distancing, will your commission, you know, to manage the COVID-19 and observe the precaution, will it be distributed?
It's because of COVID we didn't even distribute the PVCs.
Okay.
Yes, it was because of COVID, and again also the continuous voter registration. We didn't do that because of COVID, and there was a big backlash. People were not happy. People were calling the commission all sorts of names. Of course, I don't blame them, because eligible voters, those who have come of age from the last time we did registration, they were supposed to register, and they were also supposed to vote in this election. But because of COVID, we couldn't do that, you know. So right now, I don't know when the commission will start it, but it's not just going to be Edo State. It is going to be in the 36 states and Abuja. That is what I know. That is how the commission operates.
All right, thank you very much. We will take a break from you right now, We'll try to get back to the man at the NLC here in Edo State, Comrade Sonny Osayende. Let's see if we can get him. And then, if we can, when we're done talking to him, if it does happen, then we'll open the phone lines for our audience to ask you questions and make their own input on the program. Remember, we try to get across to... Okay, so we have Comrade Sonny Osayende on the line, NLC Chairman of Edo State. Good morning, Comrade. Good to have you.
Good morning. How are you?
Very fine. Thank you very much. Well, okay, so quickly, the NLC have said they are embarking on a strike to protest the fuel hike increase and electricity tariff increase. Walk us through the details. Is it going down, or are there negotiations to stop it?
Well, as I speak, in the meeting held the day before yesterday at Abuja, it was not only agreed that the strike will go on, but negotiation with the federal government is open. And if there will be counter-narrative, they will tell us. But as I speak, we don't know how the meeting will go in Abuja today. But I want to assure that with what we heard, the meeting will brief us today. But I'm scheduling a meeting in Benin to all affiliate union of Nigeria Labour Congress to ensure that there is total compliance of the strike in Benin. Note, this strike is not against state, it's against the federal government. I wish everybody is already aware we are passing through hard time in this country. And you know that we just passed through COVID-19 and COVID-19 is still on. Palliative was not done. We have given the federal government more than 14 days ultimatum. They did not call us. It is now when the heat in the kitchen is hot. They are suddenly calling for a meeting today. And state governments are rallying around to ensure that the strike will not hold. But however, we are resolute with our decision reached at the neck in the country that they must reverse before meaningful negotiation can take place. These were the issues that were put before the table at the national at the conference in Abuja.
Okay.
All right. Moving on, Comrade. Now, eventually, there's going to be a meeting with the federal government today, and you've tabled some issues, which include the hike in fuel price, increase in electricity tariff, salary payments, both the new minimum wage. States that have not started paying the new minimum wage. Now, quickly, if eventually some of these issues are tackled, let us face fuel price. Are we seeing a case where you are asking the federal government to reduce the pump price, and to how much are you asking the federal government to reduce it? Just like what happened in 2012 during Goodluck Jonathan's tenure.
In the course of our negotiations and our discussions, we are saying return to status quo and let us discuss. In fact, with our feasibility studies, the 3 refineries in the country is not as old as you think. We feel there are cabals who are just using it to make money. If we put the refinery into beer and discussion is on to revert the economy, we will subject the discussion to palliative of how the country will move forward. We cannot just cannot wake up one day and decide without putting a large number of Nigerians, 200 million Nigerians, on hold by telling you without from them at all. I say, who are you? You see, the truth of the matter is that you are aware that the Nigeria Labour Congress is not willing to go on strike. But we are willing to go on strike on the strength of the fact that the common man in the street is suffering. Everybody, you and I know that the 30,000 minimum wage you brought has the fuel hike and the electricity tariff has overtaken them. There is no more 30,000 minimum wage. As I speak, some state government has not even implemented it. The issue of VAT is there. The issue of bank, everything is there. So in fact, the negotiation is going to be very tough. I am not seeing the federal government obliging to all. But on the latter note, if that peradventure they agree, because what we told the CWC and NAC of NSC is that they should go to Saturday school, the negotiation will continue, they will not agree, therefore we don't know what to do. Those are the issues that were given to the leadership of Nigeria Labour Congress. Telling which the state all local government will be closed down by Monday.
Okay. Now, most of the times negotiations like this usually end up in series of deadlock, and then, take a very long time. If eventually this meeting you are supposed to have with the federal government, you don't come to an agreement today, does it mean the strike will still continue?
That would be the best way. If he ended developing the strike will commence immediately.
Even while you are still negotiating?
Yes. You see, let me tell you, you don't build something upon nothing. Like I told you, there was 14 days window for you to have discussed all these things. You kept it until the last day. Is that how a government is run? This government is insensitive to workers and to the people of Nigeria. If they are insensitive, you and I know that if you don't take the struggle in our hand, we will one day sink. We will not allow Nigeria to sink. We will not allow it to the working class will not allow Nigeria to sink. We are collaborating with our civil society members, the market women, because definitely what we have cannot take you home. You know this.
Okay. All right, comrade, finally, before we let you go, what is an acceptable compromise that the federal government will come to? Yes, something like acceptable.
The compromise is simple. I've told you, I'm repeating myself. Go back to status quo. Then discussion cannot start.
Hold on. There was a rally. There was a counter protest against NLC in Abuja last week. Some people said the NLC are the problem of the country, that the president means well by increasing the petrol and the electricity tariff, and that you should not protest against it. I don't know if you are aware of that. How do you react to it?
We are aware. We discuss it for your information. Those are the ones the cabals are using. The few people like that will not be able to submerge the 36 states working force and including Abuja. They will not be able. So they will be pocketed. I believe they will be pocketed. Do not be troubled. Those with us are merrier than those with them.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade Sonny Osayende. Thank you very much. Let's allow you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. So we just had to get to the NLC chairman in Edo State, Comrade Sonny Osayende. Wow, you heard it. I mean, prepare yourselves. Let's hope the meeting is fruitful. Okay. Sorry. Let's come back to Mr. Wariwe in the studio. INEC does not go on strike now. That is it's a different matter entirely. Okay. So
yes, they were even generous sort of draws. If they had fixed that thing before the election, it would have been a very big problem. Again, of course, we have Ondo that is coming, so
it could affect.
Yeah, that's another thing. Well, let's see how it goes.
All right, it's time for us to let you into the conversations. The numbers are 0706-263-9275, 0903-939-4427, and 0812-178-9154. I know you all have a lot to say, but I'm sorry, you just have 30 seconds. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Orlando.
Good morning to you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Mr. Omos, if I'm calling from Benin.
All right, go ahead.
The INEC man, first and foremost, I want to thank you for a job well done. Because I think I will thank your commission because I listened to you. We continue to dish out the necessary information prior to the election. I think the election has come and gone. I think I commend INEC for well done. The only area I have issue with the EFCC should try as much as possible to do their job because from what we gather on ground, as of Wednesday last week, people were already buying voters' cards and giving people money to vote for their party.
All right.
You understand?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's the situation. Thank you and good morning.
All right. Thank you so much.
How do you handle things like this? Vote buying and people buying voters' cards?
I don't know. Some of these things, it's like they have shifted from the polling unit. That is what I heard. They have shifted from, because you know that we have so sensitized the people, and we have also made things difficult for them to be sharing money or doing vote buying at the polling unit. So it's like they have shifted you know, they are very wise, they are very clever. The politicians are very clever. So they have shifted, you know, from this vote buying at the polling unit. So I think somebody was telling me it is they are doing it in a more digital way. I don't know. But if we get the details, of course, he was talking about EFCC, and EFCC has to do thorough investigation so that going forward, it won't happen. If it happened here, maybe, I don't know, they can take care of it in Ondo State.
But I want to ask, can I vote with someone else's voter's card?
No, you can't.
Then how possible is it for me to buy someone's voter's card and then still come vote?
No, I think that it's inducement. They must have sent money to somebody, I don't know, for the person to vote for the party. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
IK from Agadagodo.
All right, IK, you have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, a very big thank you to INEC. And I wanted to repeat this thing in the Ondo election. And if there's consistency this way, I think Nigeria will go to a greater height. INEC, thank you very much. And the security, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Final call. Hello.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Did you say Ogogo?
Yes, Ogogo.
All right, Ogogo, go ahead.
I actually had my wallet mixing and my computer card I think was for Thailand. So I'd like to know what steps to take to get that.
Okay, Ogogo, please be a bit more audible. Yeah, you said your voter's card did what?
I misplaced my wallet, so I lost it. So I was not able to vote in the last election actually.
All right.
You want a replacement for your voter's card?
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. So how do people like this in such situation? How do they get another voter's card?
Well, he has to wait until when the INEC will, start registration.
Again.
Registration and because registration and transfer and also getting a new voter's card, all of them, they are done, the same time.
Okay.
You can do registration at the same time. You can transfer from one place to the other.
Okay.
And at the same time, if you have lost your PVC or your PVC is defaced that you cannot use, you can also request for new ones. So all these activities take place in the same time when we are doing registration. So he has to wait until when INEC has opened the portal for registration and then also distribution of PVCs. All
right, I'm sure the driver who said he threw away his PVC because it was defaced is listening right now. We'll get a new voter's card. All right, let's check out the messages. NLC strike is laughable. What's their goal? Just to deduct 10 naira. What they should be fighting for is our 4 refinery to be working at optimal level, and the new electricity tariff is for the rich. Peter from Oliha. Okay, and one more message before we go. I beg your pardon.
How does he know what NLC are fighting for?
Dear Charles, okay, I'm sure this question has been answered. They said the procedure for getting replacement of lost PVC. I'm sure it has been answered. But anyways, this is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. But before we go, as we do, we usually give our guests 10 seconds for final words. So, Mr. Timidi, your final word to our listener this morning.
Yes, I still want to thank the people of Edo State who made our job easier. If the people wanted to take up arms, it wouldn't have been possible. We also, in fact, from what I gather, the commission, INEC chairman is writing a letter to the Oba, thanking the Oba for the peace, the peaceful election we had. The Oba called the 2 leading candidates prior to the election and spoke to them. And that also, sort of resulted to the peaceful election that we had. And of course, the political parties, the youths, everybody that played one role, the security, everybody that played one role or the other for us to achieve a successful, peaceful election. I thank everybody. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much.